A750F. On your neutral switch, you get a 7/8 nut right here. Just loosen that up. You don't have to take it off. A 12mm nut that holds that on, or bolt that holds it on there. $10mm bolts on your speed sensor and your vent. You can leave the vent on here if you want to. I just try to keep it from getting bent. Now, speed sensors are the same, but I do mark them to keep them where they were. $10mm on your pass-through connector for your wiring harness. 12mm on your linkage. $12mm on the pump. I think I forgot to mention what this one came in for. It came in because he can't keep a rear seal in it. He wants to go ahead and go through the whole unit, but he supposedly had the drive shaft rebuilt and it still keeps knocking the rear seal out of it, so not sure what we got going on there, but we'll see. $17mm here. Got some pretty hefty Loctite on there. 14mm on the rest of the bell house. Helps to take them all out. Still helps to take them all out. $14mm on our tail housing. Bushing looks really good. I don't know why he's not able to keep a seal in it. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to recommend that we put a tail housing in it. Got snap ring here. Somebody's been in here. This is on backwards. Short end of the taper of the snap ring should be out towards us, and it was inboard. So you got a race. Make sure your surface is okay. And bearing, and another race. But the lip goes in. These all look good. $10 millimeters on the pin. Hit the camera. Sorry about all the noise. I've got a subframe that will not come loose in the transit van, and the bolts have seized into the frame. He's tried everything to get them out. Alright. Looks pretty good. 10 millimeter on the filter bolts. I keep them separate. 10 millimeters on all the valve bottoms. $10 millimeters on the two temp sensors. Pay attention to how your harness was in there. These just slide off. Little bracket right here for your wiring harness. Okay, on these, you have to get in the center of the connector, kind of pry up just a little bit as you pull the wire out. On these, you push down. On these, there's a little tab right here. You push in. These are just like these other two. You got to get in the center, kind of lift it up. Our linkage has to come out of the hole. Sometimes these get a little worn, and they can be a snot to get out of there. Kind of like this one. harness will come out now. Okay. Cooler check valve, there is a spring underneath it. Pay attention to your spring locations here and keep your accumulators lined up in the way that they came out. There's a bunch of different configurations, so you want to make sure that you don't get them screwed up. You will get bumpy shifts, flary shifts, mostly bumpy shifts that you just can't get rid of because you got your accumulator springs in the wrong spot. There's 3 flat seals that go here. These go all the way through to the supports. It's easier to get the supports out if you go ahead and pull these out of the case. Of course, like everything else today is wanting to be difficult. $10mm on the park. Our bracket will come up. Push that down, and your linkage will come out. Then this will come up. Pull your spring out, pivot pin, and your park. There's a little spring clip here. Leave that in the case. You can get between your drum and the case right here. I don't know if it's showing up right in front of the linkage here. Just push the pump out. Alright. You have a bearing here, bearing in the center, race and race. I just zip tie my stuff together so I know there's going to be a lot of bearings in here, and you're going to want to know where they go. You can sort it out, but it makes it a lot quicker. 30 torque on the pump. Look in here and feel and make sure that the ring grooves are not on there from them sealing rings. Now there are other grooves in there, so don't mistake those for where these sealing rings go. Make sure that you are checking where they go. There's bearing here, make sure it's okay. Bushing here, make sure it's okay. Surface of your pump is okay. Always mark the gears. See if they were in the right way. There's an ID that belongs up on both of these. Make sure surface is okay. Probably put a pump bushing in that. Alright, we got a sprag here, turning clockwise, locking counterclockwise. So I just marked that. So we make sure we get it back in their proper direction. Washers, they will not come in the kit, so make sure if they are screwed up, they are hard to come by. Snap ring here. And what we're going to do, we're going to pull this snap ring out. We're going to pull our hub out and make sure it's okay. Bearing here. Make sure it's okay. Usually they are. We've got a bearing and race here. A race. And a bearing and race here. Pull our drum out. We're going to put this back in. Now I'm going to get back down in there. Alright, there's little notches where this has to line up. Right there. With the little notch on the drum. Put your snap ring back in. And the reason we do that, it makes this easier to get this off. We're going to have to go press this down. Be careful you don't press here and break it. Press out here where the cage is at. Press this down, take our snap ring off, and the piston will come off. It'll make it easier because it wants to push down as you're pushing this down, and this keeps that from doing that. We zip tie this all together.
It's gonna be fun to put it back together.
Yeah. Okay, got our snap ring, our piston, our spring cage. Just keep this together. Now we can take this out. Our snap ring, our top piece, cushion plate on top, our set of clutches. There's a snap ring, another snap ring, our set of clutches. Okay, this piston will come off now. Now I can go press this piston out. That's on the inside. Okay, we got our piston. Our drum, our piston, return spring, molded balance piston. I would recommend that you replace these pistons, or this is actually the only molded piston in it, I believe. Let me make sure. That line too, yeah. Okay. Now we have this drum. These are a little toasty, but the steels are still okay. Let me go take the pistons out of here. Okay, our drum, piston, return spring, balance piston. Now, normally what happens on these units, these valve bodies get worn out. They're super bad about being worn out. And depending on how long they drive it after it gets worn out, and how much of this they burn up. Every once in a great while you'll get blown up planetary. Alright, we got the snap ring is at the 630. Our clutches, cushion plate at the bottom, the dish down. There's a sprag assembly. I'm going to mark the side that was facing towards us. We have center support. Snap ring is at the 6 o'clock position. I wish I could get a view of it down in here for you, but there's just no way I can do that. I don't have a camera person. Okay, going to be a pain. Where are we stuck? There we go. Alright, the bevel faces up towards you. Alright, you need to come out fairly straight with this support. If you've got blown up planets, that can be difficult. Okay, here we go. Now, just push down on your piston, pop your snap ring out. Turn spring and our piston. And this bushing right here is super bad about being worn. The only way you can get it is in a bushing kit. This is worn really bad and they start walking out. So either way, you're going to want to Loctite this in there. Sometimes you can't get the bushing. This one, I'm going to insist that they buy a Planet if they can't get me a bushing kit, because this one's just too worn. If it's not super worn, you can press it back down into place and stake it in so it doesn't come moving out. But this one's super worn. Our washer here, our hub is okay. Ring gear, the bearing and 2 races, another washer. Backside here we got a bearing. And a race. Planetary with their sun gear. Alright. Look okay. Set of clutches. These are fairly toasty. Go ahead and zip tie this together. Alright, our snap ring is at the, what is that, 11 o'clock position. return spring, another piston or center support, snap ring is at the 7 o'clock position. Pressure plate, clutches, return spring, try to come fairly straight. Okay. Another center support. And zip tie this together. Alright. This snap ring can be a real pain. It's at the 5 o'clock position. And it is super difficult. Pry book behind that snap ring and kind of work it out. Tends to like to pop back in there on you. And then when you get to the end of it, it does not want to come out of the groove. There we go. Bevel out towards you. Alright, now you can just push against the output shaft. And usually, got cocked on me. Usually it'll just push right out. And it's wanting to be difficult. Come on. There we go. We got our sprag turning clockwise, locking counterclockwise. Got a ring gear, got a race. The lip goes up into the ring gear, a bearing and race, sun gear shaft, a bearing up inside of here, bearing on the back, our output shaft, and our race. Go ahead and zip tie this together. And our pressure plate. Okay, the only thing left in the back is the piston and the return spring, snap ring. I just get a pry bar, I push down, I pop my snap ring off, and you can put it in a foot press if you want to. Let's see how quickly this goes. Sometimes it can be a pain. There's the end of my snap ring now. Alright, snap ring, return spring. Alright, and our piston. Case is empty other than that rattle clip, and like I said, leave it in there. That way you don't forget it, because on this one, you cannot get it back in there if you forget it like you could on the early units. So, you gotta take it all the way back apart, put it back in there. So, leave it in there so you don't forget it. Okay, pretty basic on this one. I'm gonna need a bushing kit, LS kit, which is a kit with clutches, with pistons, and LS kit with pistons, a piston, and filter. Might as well put a torque converter in it while we're there. Tell them to get me a tail housing. See if we can get this rear seal to quit coming out. If it comes out again, he's definitely got something wrong with his drive shaft. I don't care that he had it replaced. He's got carrier bearing wrong, or angle's wrong, or something's wrong back there with the drive shaft. I'm gonna put a zip kit in the valve body from Sonax. Okay, I guess that's it for this one. Well, I already have a rebuild video of the A750F, but it was a further view. I'll do a close-up view of it, so we got that now.